Ladies and gentlemen, this is Why My Nerd Presents Alphabetic Gold Games episode, I think it's 8. I don't know. I'm confused on what episode this is. We're going to go with 8. I'm Kevin James, and joining me as always, Jason Porter, and from the beginning, no other than just that. Who looks like I don't know if you're hungover.
I'm just rubbing my eyes. No, I just was rubbing my eyes.
Well, I just spilled my coffee.
Totally fine.
I spilled my coffee all over the place.
Oh, that's not good.
Because
no, definitely not hungover. Haven't had anything to drink since Friday, and that was just literally 3 beers. So, no big deal.
Anyone see the Dunkaroo beer? I don't know if it's real or not, or if it's fucking fake.
Oh, Dunkaroo beer. I think I'll just go to our sponsor and get some Dunkaroo Fresh. I think I'll just do that. I don't know if I want to drink a Dunkaroo beer. That sounds disgusting.
Dude, I had a cold brew beer the other day. It tasted like syrup. It was fucking disgusting.
Well, cold brew, like cold brew, like a beer that has like coffee in it is great. But Dunkaroo fucking beer sounds absolutely detestable.
Yeah, it was not good. Jason, you a beer drinker or no?
I keep it simple. I'm a Sam Adams guy and a Yingling guy. I keep it simple. I'm not into all like the craft stuff like that.
I like the I do have to give it to who makes the Shipyard Pumpkinhead. I'll give it that. I like the Shipyard Pumpkinhead beer for the fall.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at me like I'm crazy. You heard of the Shipyard?
No, I don't. I haven't heard of Shiphead, but I know I don't like pumpkin. I don't like pumpkin flavored things in general. I don't do pumpkin pie or pumpkin spice coffee. But when somebody makes like a good pumpkin beer, it actually is really nice. I'll say that. Those are really, really good. So I'll have to try this other one, this ship person.
Ship. Yeah, what's it called? Curious Travel
Man
have something called the Pumpkin Travel that was really, really good. So before we what are we playing now? So Jason, you're out as a Witcher. We established that last week. You're done. You've moved on.
Yeah, I've been actually, funny story on that. I have a theory about why I didn't like that. So
I'm in.
We all know what's up.
I'm in. Let me know. Tell me.
Yeah, so I'm listening.
We all know my PS4 shit the bed last weekend, so I wiped everything, and then the only things that are on it right now still are I re-downloaded Uncharted and Skyrim because I freaking love Skyrim. I took that opportunity to make a new save file, and so whenever I play like Skyrim, I always gravitate towards like a sniper archer. So I'm like, all right, let me just create like a destruction mage and just go on with that. And it's pretty cool. I'm going around like doing the whole Emperor Palpatine, force lightning, sparking things to death. And when you hit the slow crits, it's really freaking cool. I found myself like 5 hours into it. I'm like, why am I not feeling this? Like, this is Skyrim. I fucking love Skyrim. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours invested into Skyrim across PS4, PS3. And I started thinking, I'm like, why not getting into this? And then I switched over to my main build, my sniper build. And within 10 minutes, I was like, yeah, this is the best. This is the best. I'm thinking I gravitate towards that sniper build so much that the actual melee of The Witcher just wasn't doing it for me. I think that's why I couldn't get into that game. There was no option for like a stealth. Yeah, you had the crossbow, but you really couldn't play the game with the crossbow. It was just kind of there.
You might actually like Ghost of Tsushima then. I know I said last week you might not, but you might actually like it then because you could easily take that game stealth if you wanted to. I didn't. I was a fucking raging psychopath. But I take that back. So then you might be able to dip into Ghost of Tsushima a little bit. So you're playing Uncharted then again, is what you read.
I'm going to run through on this week. I'm going to run through like from start to finish, just run right through everything.
All 4 games? 5 if you want.
I'm sorry?
All 5 if you're including expansion, you're just into your first 3.
So I have the downloads for the first 3, and then I I have everything digital. So
fair. And then Matt, you're still playing what was the game?
No, I've made a power move.
Okay.
I haven't started it yet, but it's going to be an ongoing saga because whenever I get to a point where I always make it a little personal project, whenever I get to a point where I'm going to be crossing over into another like set of platinum, so like this, my next platinum, whatever it would be 60. I always try to do something that's a little bit, cool or looks like really special or difficult. So I made a power move, and I think I'm gonna try and get the platinum on Cuphead.
Get the fuck out of here.
I have it downloaded. It's waiting for me. I did a little read up last night on how the trophies are, and I think I'm gonna do it. And apparently, it should at the very least, it should only take you like 15 to 20 hours to do it. So I think I'm gonna give it a shot.
The sponsor will buy you breakfast for life if you fucking platinum Cuphead.
You guys fucking heard it now. Granted, you kind of already do that anyway, so.
It'll be a permanent thing. If you platinum Cuphead, yes, that's my thing.
You heard it here. It is officially on record, on video, but I feel like it's going to be conveniently edited out in post.
No, it will not. It will be staying on there. We also did talk about Matt and I that Matt is going to choose games for me to play, and I have to beat him. And I have to at least get as far as I can until either rage quit it, throw the controller, or beat the game. So, Matt, first game on my list, what am I playing?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a little bit of a softball here. It has, you don't have to play it on a hard difficulty or anything like that. Okay. I scoped out your trophy list, so I know what you've played and what you haven't compared to me. I think this one's a good one for you because you will be playing the 2017 AAA title, I think you would call it, Prey.
Okay. I can get behind that. Okay.
First-person shooter, a little bit of RPG mechanics in there. I remember when I played the demo for that game, I was like, I don't think this is going to be good, and then stopped playing it. And then I think like a month or so after it was out, there was a random flash sale, and it was like $45. And I was like, well, I need something to play. Let me go play it. And I remember actually really liking it. It's not perfect in any way, but I think it was actually a really fun game. You'll like the mechanics. There's a little bit of creativity with the weapons. It's almost like it's like a combination of like Dishonored and BioShock, I would say. So I think you'll like it. And the best part is as long as you do it today, I think it's going until like this week. It's on sale. It's like $8.99. So
I'll get it right when I get off.
You got to steal. Get it, go buy it, and play that shit. I think you'll really like that one. It's not one that I would go for a platinum on because it's kind of
does look ugly.
I think it's not. I don't think it's a really an easy one or even like necessarily a fun kind of challenge. But I think you'll enjoy the game overall. It's horror too, so it's got some horror aspects to it. So it's not. I think you'll enjoy it.
I was afraid you were gonna throw at me like Demon Souls or Dark Souls first. It's like I'm screwed. Like I was already.
No.
We'll get myself. I was like, I'm gonna fucking kill somebody, but let's do it.
No, I think I'm gonna ease you into that, but just know that at some point I will be dropping the S-bomb on you, and you're gonna have to do that.
Sekiro.
Yeah, that
I was waiting for that
will come up at some point, but there's another one that I actually kind of want to start you with because I don't think you played it, or maybe you did. But I'll save that one for another time.
All right.
So Prey it is.
So, but once again, this is Why Am I Nerd presents Alphabetical Games. You can follow us on Instagram at Why Am I Nerd Official, Facebook.com/Why Am I Nerd. Listen to new episodes every Monday on YouTube or your favorite podcast service. So today, we are going to finally be doing this bracket that we put together. It's a list of 10 out of 10 games from IGN Game and GameSpot. We went over the list before. It is very strange. But before we get into it, should we go over the quick Matt's thoughts on Avengers?
I mean, we can. It'll really won't take long. I would say that my feelings towards it align pretty well with I mentioned Eric's feelings on it last week. I would say I'm pretty much in the same boat. I met up with a couple of friends Friday night, and we were kind of talking about it. One of them had the ability to play a little bit of it before we were all getting together. The other one, I think, was maybe playing it yesterday. But we're all pretty much in the same boat. The story part of it, the campaign, has the potential to be fun. Like, it seems like it's got an okay story, and that'll be okay. The mechanics The absolute worst hero, I think, is Iron Man in terms of controls. He's just very, very like stiff and just rigid, and it's not fun. And then you've got Cap and Black Widow basically fight like Batman in the Arkham games.
That's cool.
You've got Hulk, which is just the Hulk, and he smashes and kicks and just pummels everything. And then who am I missing? Thor basically fights like Kratos in God of War. Like you're melee, and then you throw your hammer and you call it back. It's okay. The graphics are pretty good. They're very visually appealing, but the loot system is absolutely just. It seems like they just like piecemealed it together. It doesn't even feel like it has a place in this kind of game. Honestly, I think it's pointless. So unless they tweak that, that's going to be the biggest problem with it. I will not be getting that game at launch. I'm not even likely to be getting it on sale until it's like deep sale, like 30 or less.
Wow.
And I probably wouldn't get it until like I've already got a PlayStation 5, like I'm already in the next gen and it's on sale on next gen. Or like I get it on sale on PS4 just so that I can get the free upgrade to the, the next generation. So it's I don't know. I hope they take a lot of the feedback from this beta, but I mean, the game comes out in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So there's not a lot they can change in that time period. So it's going to have to be all post-launch shit.
There you go. I'm definitely out. Look, I'm out. Jason, you're out, right?
Yeah, I actually, I was kind of curious about this, and I was watching a stream. I didn't play the game, but I was watching a decent part of the stream. I want to say Friday night. The graphics looked good. I'm not gonna jump on it though. Like I have way too much other stuff backlog going on, but.
Well, that's why not to put you both out though, but you can still this weekend and next weekend. The beta is public, so you can download it and give it a shot. The only thing you would be wasting essentially is just time. You're not spending anything. You don't have to pre-order anything. But Cameron, I would just say, I think it would be a waste of your time at this point, especially with how I feel about it. I know we can see eye to eye on a lot, and you just would be like, all right, I'm out.
Fair enough.
I'm done.
All right, well, let's get into this. We're getting into this bracket. I've already randomly generated it, and there's some interesting matchups right off the bat. Just so everyone knows, I'm going to list off the games real quick. So coming from IGN, the games they've given a 10 out of 10 to are God of War for PS4, The Last of Us 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, Half-Life Alyx, Red Dead Undead Nightmare, Pac-Man Championship DX, Uncharted 3, Zelda Skyward Sword, The Witness, Inside, Undertale, Celeste, and Red Dead 2. From GameSpot, you have Rainbow Six Siege, Final Fantasy 7. There you have it. Disco Elysium, Mario Odyssey, Divinity Sin 2, Uncharted 4, Metal Gear Solid 5, Journey, The Witcher 3, Bayonetta 2, Tony Hawk 3, and Chrono Cross. And for the games they both gave 10 to, you have Breath of the Wild, Mario Galaxy 2, Persona 5 Royal, Metal Gear Solid 4, GTA 4, Soul Calibur, and Ocarina of Time. So we're going to dive right into this. Again, the three of us will be able to knock this out, hopefully. There is some interesting ones, like I will say. So I will start off with the first matchup, which, again, these are randomly seeded. This is number 32 versus number 33, just to get into the bracket. We have Mario Galaxy 2 versus Pac-Man Championship DX. I think we can all probably agree that Mario Galaxy 2 gets the nod on that.
I mean, that's why I think Mario, not to say that, people don't love Pac-Man, but I think, I don't think of Pac-Man as being something that I would rate super highly. And admittedly too, I like the first Mario Galaxy more than the second, but comparing the two, I would say definitely, Mario.
I just don't understand I don't understand. I get the nostalgia behind Pac-Man. I'm not knocking it by any means.
Yeah.
The fact that it got a 10, I was like, I mean, it was probably because, I guess if you look at it in a sense of like a retro game, I get it. Like, I can see there's obviously people that only like retro games. I could see why they give it a 10. It kind of looked like Tetris Effect a little bit, where how they different schemes and worlds and music. But, All right, so then, starting off in our first battle, then, technically, we have number 1, they ranked, Half-Life Alyx versus Mario Galaxy 2.
Who wants to commentate first or comment?
I will say, for I've only played Mario Galaxy 2. I didn't play Half-Life Alyx. Obviously, I don't have the ability to play it yet. I will say, from what I've seen and from a nostalgia standpoint, I can see why Half-Life Alyx got what it got, and I respect what they did for a VR aspect of things. Again, not being able to play and see how it handles is kind of tough for me. Do I think Mario Galaxy 2 gets the nod over it? If I look at it as what it did and did it improve anything or did it make a giant leap forward in something, I would say no. I would give it to Half-Life Alyx.
Okay, Jason.
I would probably go with Half-Life Alyx as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Mario, but Mario is one of those things where it always seems to like run every single game kind of at some point seems very similar to everything that came before it with Mario. And, all the Sonics are like that too. And there's plenty of games. That's not to knock on Mario because that series is a great series. I'm going to give it to Half-Life Alyx because I like what they were trying to do. I think Valve is very imaginative and creative with their games, and yeah, I'm going to give it to that.
Matt, where are you going to go?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. As much as I love Mario, I never had a really crazy PC back in the day, so I never played the Half-Life games until I had an Xbox 360, and I still say that the best video game collection ever released is the Orange Box. I think that's one of the best, hands down best collection ever released, period. And that's where I finally was able to play Half-Life myself. I had seen it, my cousins had really nice PCs and I had seen what Half-Life was and I was really, interested in it. So when I finally got to play it, I really fell in love with Half-Life and I do really like those games. So I don't have that kind of VR, so I've never played Alyx, but I have seen enough of it to say that, yes, I think that game is really marvelous in what it did in terms of VR. It's probably one of the most amazing VR games that you can get out there. It's well worth the money, and it really just brings back that nostalgia for me. So yeah, definitely Alyx winning this one. So sorry, Mario.
Yeah. Moving on, round 2, or matchup 2. So we have number 16, Red Dead 2, versus number 17, Uncharted 4. I know where I'm going. I'm going Uncharted.
I already know where
I'm Uncharted 4. I did not like Red Dead 2. I'm sorry. I love the first one. Red Dead 2, I thought you overstayed your welcome by like fucking 30 hours. I think that the whole Guama or Gilma, wherever the fuck you go, that stupid island scene needed to go. And then the fact that I had to ride on a horse for 10 minutes just to get to the next fucking part, stupid. And the fact that I didn't have fast travel, stupid. So, fuck you. Uncharted is my vote.
Yeah. Jason?
I'm going to go with Uncharted. Truth be told, the only two experiences I have with Red Dead 2 was when South Park riffed it for pretty much an entire season and or half a season, depending on when it came out. And one of my friends who played it straight through got the platinum and just would not stop talking about this game to the point where I feel I know everything about the game and there is zero need for me to play it.
He platinumed Red Dead 2?
I believe he did. He said he did. Maybe I misheard. Is that like one of those super crazy ones that it takes like...
It just takes a really long fucking amount of time. And there's like, I think there's a lot of missable shit in that game. So it's like... If you put in like 100 hours and you've missed something, that's the kind of thing where I would just retire that platinum and never go for it again.
I know he said at one point where I was talking to him, he had, I think, like 81 or 82 hours into it. Oh, how long? I know it's a very long game to do everything.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, and me,
I'm curious. I'm gonna pull him up later and see.
Let me know. Take a picture of that.
Yeah, scope his list out. I mean, that's certainly a nice one to have. That's definitely a badge of honor to have that one. But no, I had a lot of things that I really liked about Red Dead, and there were a lot of things that I really did not like about that game. I think it was, the hype leading into that game is ultimately was was, I think, very, very bad for it because it was just so overhyped. And I know I was so excited for that game. I was like, I cannot fucking wait to play this game. And then getting so into it, I just realized it was not what I wanted it to be or what I was hoping it would be. But I mean, and not to be biased, but I love the Uncharted series. So yeah, Uncharted 4 just hit all the fucking right notes. So yeah, that's an easy one.
All right, moving on. Number 3, we have number 8, Undertale, versus number 25, Soul Calibur.
This could be an interesting one. Let's see what Jason says. No, Jay, I want to hear what Jason says.
Okay, Jason's going first.
Hold on. I'm trophy stalking someone real quick. Hold on.
I see the blue screen in the background.
Yeah.
So Matt, you go. Let him trophies off.
So I out of these two, I played which Soul Calibur, the first one or just in general
it's
the
series?
First one. The first one? Okay. So I've played Soul Calibur games before. I've never been a super crazy diehard fighting game fan, so that doesn't really help the situation. But I've seen enough streamers. I've never played Undertale personally myself. I don't know if I ever really will because it's like what Jason's saying with his friend. I've seen enough streamers playing Undertale that I know, like just YouTubers that I watch and just watching them play through the entirety of Undertale, doing all the different possible combinations and endings and shit like that, that I would say that was a very bizarre, creative game that just came out of nowhere for me. And I would say, I think that's probably, for me, that would be my vote, would be Undertale. I think it was more creative. I mean, Soul Calibur is a big series. I mean, a lot of people like it, but like, for me, fighting games, every time a new fighting game comes out, it's just improved graphics, and then, you know, the fighting system might get tweaked, but it's always the same shit. It's the same fucking shit every time. Like, that's why I don't do fighting games. It is always the same shit every time. Like I've seen so many with Street Fighter 4. There have been like 10 or 12 different versions of Street Fighter 4 and very little fucking changes with each iteration of it. Like, I can't do fighting games. I can't do it anymore.
That is interesting because I'm going to then Jason's going to be the tiebreaker in this because I was going for Soul Calibur. I thought that, again, I'm not a fighting game guy either. I watched Undertale, didn't play it. It did not catch my attention by any means. I thought that, you know, when Soul Calibur first came out, it kind of, I get it that you had like Virtua Fighter and you had like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, right? But like, there was something about when Soul Calibur came out that was just like, whoa, like you get a fucking sword. It was on Dreamcast. It looked pretty fucking good for the time being. Mm-hmm. And I mean, they don't really, with those games, like you kind of said, like the Soul Calibur, they really haven't changed much of the formula. Like it's Soul Calibur. Like you play Soul Calibur, you know it's Soul Calibur. Like you said, they update the graphics, they put some new characters in. But I think for that game, like I really think that game kind of led a little bit of the charge for the next like really 3D type gameplay, especially because you can rotate. So my vote there is Soul Calibur. So Jason, it's up to you. What's moving on, Soul Calibur or Undertale?
Well, first off, no, he is nowhere close to platinum.
I didn't think so.
I was going to say, hold on, I'm going to real quick look up on my phone what the difficulty level of that trophy is, and I'm going to say it's got to be at least an 8.
I must have misheard them. They're at like mid 40s right now.
Jesus
I don't know what else came around. He was playing something else at that time too. I don't know what it was. I'm looking through here.
The estimated lead time from Power Picks on that trophy, he rates it as 6 out of a 10, but the estimated time to get there is anywhere between 240 and 300 hours.
Yeah, no, done.
And there's multiplayer trophies, so he says, that's 240 to 300 hours of single player plus 40 hours of multiplayer with an XP exploit. Otherwise, it's 100 plus hours of multiplayer. Fuck it. Literally never getting it.
No.
Even though all in for both of those, for campaign and for single player and multiplayer, that is still less time than I have invested in PlayStation 3 Skyrim, by quite a bit.
I would say that's probably about the same for me for The Witcher. So I can get
fair.
All right, so White Orchard. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. All right, so Jason, you're breaking this tiebreaker. It's Undertale or Soul Calibur, the original Soul Calibur Dreamcast.
I am probably going to go with Soul Calibur. I I know, and I definitely side with Matt on this as far as fighting games now being all the same. I think the last fighting game I actually gave more than 30 minutes of was one of the Tekkens. I think like Tekken 3. We're talking like very old PS here. It might have been PS2. But yeah, I mean, fighting games were good.
In the arcades.
The graphics, I like the, sorry.
I say like fighting games are good for it's like an arcade thing. Go and put 25 cents and get your ass beat and move on.
And I have a comment on that too before we move on to the next segment. But continue.
Go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
No, I'm good. Go.
Oh, I was just going to say, as much I don't want it to seem like I'm just completely bashing fighting games, because when I was younger, there was one fighting game that I did fall in love with at the arcades, and it was mostly because of the characters in it and the graphic style of it, because it was all hand drawn. Yeah, I think I told you about this before.
Wait, what is it? Wait, is it Capcom versus Marvel versus Capcom?
Marvel versus Capcom 2 specifically. Like, I mean, those they're not like they're all like these weird 3D graphics and everything, but like the first two games were all hand drawn and it was really cool. And I remember I still have my PS2 copy of Marvel versus Capcom 2, and it has like the blue back disc, which is like they did that only for like a short period of time. So I could probably sell it on eBay for good money if I wanted to. But I did. That is the only one that I liked, mostly just because it wasn't because of the style of game. It was just because of the characters and the feel of it and the visuals. That's why I really liked it. So I don't want to just shit on fighting games, but generally speaking, they're pretty much the same thing. So, whatever.
All right, moving on. Matchup number 4. This is going to be an interesting one. We have number 9, Disco Elysium, versus, I can know Jason's a pick on this, number 24, Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, that's it.
I was going to say, I think this is probably an easy one because I've also never played Disco Elysium, and unfortunately I don't know enough about it to comment on it, so I would have to just default to Final Fantasy 7, whether it's the remake or the original.
Yeah,
it's actually the remake.
Then it's still fine. It goes either way. It's unfortunate because it's just it's a disqualification. I just don't unfortunately know enough about Disco Elysium to
I actually have,
so I can't.
Because I got this nice new laptop, I can actually run Disco Elysium on it, and it's actually in my shopping cart right now on the App Store because
you're fucking playing Prey, dummy.
I know. Well, I'm not doing it. I'm playing Prey now. I literally didn't play anything for the past 3 days or 2 days since I beat Platinumed. Ghost of Tsushima, because I was like, I'm gonna wait to see what Matt has to offer me, because I was afraid it was gonna do something that was gonna fucking drive me nuts. But
I was always gonna beat you to it. There was never any doubt on that.
I could probably have Prey beaten by next week. Anyway, moving on. Matchup number 5, we have Divinity Sin 2 versus Red Dead Undead Nightmare.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say this. I respect Divinity Sin 2. I respect everything about that game. I think the game looks really cool. I actually do want to play it, but Undead Nightmare to me, man, is like
we've had many discussions about.
I mean, that game is.
So I knew
that game is just really fun. The zombies fucking go bats out of hell. It's like 28 days later. But I think that if they had brought the Undead Nightmare to like even GTA, it would have been great. I'm surprised they didn't bring it into Red Dead 2, but my vote is automatically Red Dead Undead Nightmare on that.
Jason?
I have actually not played either of those. I am looking up information.
Something tells me, just from what I know about you, at least, you would probably side with Divinity, because that's a little bit more of the turned into a game, obviously like a video game, but it's more like a tabletop D&D RPG kind of style of game.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting from the Wikipedia here. It looks like something I would really enjoy, just reading through the descriptions, and I don't want to read too much because I don't want to. I'm like into the plot now. I don't want to get too far into that. But yeah, it looks like I would gravitate towards something like this.
You would.
Yeah,
I second that.
And I would say, and as much as I've never. So I guess just because I haven't played Divinity myself, there's another series out there amongst Divinity that I want to play called Pillars of Eternity, which is kind of a similar style game. I have played Undead Nightmare. I really did enjoy playing that. But just to be a little contrarian, I am going to probably say Divinity because of what that offers.
Wow.
That series. Yeah, I'll say that just because I have seen people play it. I have seen enough of it that I think, yeah, Divinity's got a lot more going on than Undead Nightmare did. Undead Nightmare was very localized and a lot of fun, but Divinity has a lot to offer. So
Divinity gets the nod.
Sorry, Cam.
That's all right. This matchup, number 6, is probably, if I'm looking at it, the most interesting one we have so far.
Oh, no.
Number 13, Ocarina of Time, versus number 20, God of War.
Ooh, shit.
One of them's getting cut.
Who wants to comment first?
Jason?
I am...
This hurts.
I am going to go with God of War.
Okay.
Because I never... Let me preface this by saying Zelda is great. The original Zelda is one of my all-time favorite games. The second one, okay. Then after that, they kind of... And again, I was never a Nintendo guy after, like, Super NES. After like Super NES. I had a GameCube. I have the Wii, the original Wii. But, like, by that point, I was always, like, 100% diehard PlayStation. Dabbled with Xbox here and there, dabbled with PC here and there, but primarily PlayStation. So I never had like full access to every single Zelda game that came after, like, I think the third one. I've played them. I anything on like the portable. So like the Switch, whatever's on the Switch now, haven't played, have zero desire to play. Whatever came out for Wii U. No. But yeah, like I like the original Zeldas, like the earlier versions of Zeldas better. I thought they were great for their time. Yes, the graphics were good on the newer ones. But again, with that whole Nintendo thing, I think we spoke about this a few weeks ago. Nintendo just always seemed a little bit more family oriented for me, and just being like solo on my own for so long, I didn't need that. I didn't need the Nintendo in the house for the kids. So I always went towards like the PlayStation, all that stuff. And I just went with other games. So I'm going to have to go with God of War.
Matt?
Oh no, Cameron, it's going to be you first.
Dude, I know what you're doing. So
yeah, I don't think well, you might, but I don't know. You I don't know.
I am going to go on the limb and say this. I did not like Ocarina of Time. It was way over my head. I was not smart enough growing up to be able to comprehend that fucking game. Fuck the Water Temple. So I, with all due respect, again, respect that game wholeheartedly, but I am going to go with God of War because I thought God of War was fantastic and I thought it was done really well.
Okay, and then where do you think I'm going to end up?
I thought you were going to say Ocarina of Time.
No, it would be God of
Really?
War. Listen, Ocarina of Time holds a special place in my heart because it was when I got an N64 as a kid, that was like the big game that we wanted, and I still have memories. Like as I'm like staring off into the distance now, I can see myself in my living room playing that game in Kokiri Village, and like I remember it, and it'll always hold a special place in my heart. But God of War really was something special. I mean, for Christ's sakes, I'm like looking at it over there. I have the super, very rare, only 500 printed copies, limited edition of the God of War art book. Like that's like signed by Cory Barlog. And I really loved that game. That hit all the special notes. And that will be one of those games where once the PS5 is out, I will be playing that game again to just with all the improvements that will come from a PS5. So,
I probably will too. I'll probably try to platinum that on the PS5.
Love it. That's an easy platinum trophy. I'm surprised you don't have that one already. That one is a surprisingly easy one.
I got mad about something in that game. We won't talk about it. All right, moving on. I think this next one's going to be pretty easy. We have Metal Gear Solid 5 versus Inside. Metal Gear Solid 5 strength 5, Inside 28. I really liked what the hell's the other thing that the guys from Inside made?
Limbo.
Yes, I loved Limbo. I thought that was a great game. I actually beat that right before I went on a plane. But Metal Gear Solid 5 to me was the first Metal Gear Solid game that I was like, this is fucking awesome. And I played the hell out of that game. And I'm giving that to Metal Gear Solid 5.
I'll just shoe in real quick. Yeah, I love Metal Gear. So,
Jason?
I need to pass on this. I have not played either one. I was never a fan of the Metal Gear series. It just never did anything for me. And I've played Limbo. I have not played Inside.
Mm-hmm.
It looks good. I do want to play it, but I'll play that on the Switch. It's a Switch game for me. All right, moving on. This one I think is going to be, unfortunately, easier than I would have liked. But we have number 12, Uncharted 3, versus number 21, Breath of the Wild.
Ooh. Fuck. I think we talked about it before. I like Uncharted. Uncharted 3 is my least favorite of them, but I don't hate that game. But I'm gonna give this one to Breath of the Wild.
I will unfortunately give it to Breath of the Wild too.
Yeah.
I was going to go with Uncharted.
Really?
Yep.
I kind of figured you were.
Sorry.
Again, unfortunately, Breath of the Wild gets the nod on that one. All right, so now we have number 9, or the 9th tournament. We have Rainbow Six Siege versus, this is interesting, Skyward Sword.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well,
I'm gonna give this to Siege. First of all, I don't know how it got. I don't know how it got a 10. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But I will give this to Rainbow Six Siege because I think that game. We talked about this probably 2 weeks ago, maybe last week. Games that like when the game's not good, and developer keeps working on it, and it ends.
100%.
And they did that with this game. Like this game kind of came out. I was like, yeah, whatever. And now the game is apparently fantastic. I know multiple people that play it. It looks really cool. But to me, it's like one of those games. If I dipped into it right now, I'm probably just going to get my ass handed to me because people have been playing it for so long that I just don't want to try to get involved in something that's just going to destroy me. So I'm going to give this a Siege. I'm going to give it to Siege.
Jason?
I'm going to give it to Siege as well. That is the style of game that I gravitate towards. But like Cameron said, it's something just like even similar to like The Division. If I jumped right back into The Division right now, I would just get owned within probably 10 or 15 seconds. Like the game, yeah. Division, Siege.
And Matt, you were going Siege too?
Yeah, I mean, I never played Siege, but I've seen enough gameplay of it and like watched like my friends just doing like share play on PlayStation, watching them play it and just finding it very amusing and very, it's very tactical. Like you really, it's not just run around and fucking shoot everybody. There's all the different classes and whatever. But yes, it is a massive improvement from when it first came out. Skyward Sword, I was talking about that with my friend Ben yesterday. I fucking hated that game. That's like the only Zelda game that I can say I absolutely hated. So awful.
There you have it. Matt hates that.
Matt hates Skyward Sword.
Matchup number 10. We have number 15 Mario Odyssey versus number 18 GTA 4.
Hold on. I need some time to think.
I'm going to go and lead towards. I'm going to go towards Odyssey, even though I didn't really like it that much. As much as I liked GTA 4, especially because I felt like when it came out, it was like a graphic overhaul, obviously, from GTA 3. It was like, holy shit. I don't really remember much about GTA 4, to be honest with you, except the Liberty knockoff of the Statue of Liberty at the end. And Mario Odyssey, I've probably played the first world of that game like 30 times, so I know it pretty well because I can't get past it. But
that's your White Orchard.
Yep, that's my White Orchard. But I'll give this one to Odyssey. I'll give it to Odyssey.
I'm going to go with Odyssey as well because similar to Assassin's Creed, all the GTAs just run together for me, and I think the one I liked the best, I think it was the second one. Whatever was the first one for PS2.
3.
Okay, so that one. I played the shit out of that game. Everything else, it's just I've played other one. I'm looking at one of them right now. I've played all of them, but I couldn't tell you one from the other. It's just like Assassin's Creed. To me, they all run together.
Mm-hmm. Matt, you were going to go with
it's Odyssey. Yeah, it's Odyssey. I mean, I liked, I've had all my enjoyments from the GTA games, but for 4 had a lot of just the mechanics of it were kind of weird, like the driving around the cars and stuff like that. When you were driving around cars, they tried to have like realistic car physics, but it felt like you were driving a boat on land, and it wasn't very good. And I understand like it was something different. I'm not saying I didn't like running around basically New York City and the boroughs, but it was fun. But I liked Odyssey more. I remember being very excited for Odyssey. So
I agree. All right, here we go. Number 11. Metal Gear Solid 4 versus GTA 5.
Ooh, easy.
GTA?
Yeah, as much as I like the Metal Gear series, I don't know, man. I have my issues with Metal Gear 4 because I didn't have a PlayStation 3 right when it came out. So I came into Metal Gear 4 later. That game is mostly a fucking movie as opposed to a game.
Yeah,
like some of the cutscenes, I mean, they can always do that in Metal Gear games, but like in that one, there's like one cutscene that lasts like 45 minutes or like an hour, and then you go back into gameplay, you move around for like 10 minutes, and then you go back into another cutscene. It should have just been a movie. I mean, that game was really long, and the majority of it wasn't even really gameplay. I mean, it looked cool. That
was my gripe.
Yeah. I mean, some of the boss fights were really interesting when you're fighting the they're called like it's like the Beauty and the Beast Corps or whatever, like the women in like the mech suits or whatever. But just always a very bizarre story. But no, I the amount of time that I put into GTA 5 when it was first out, and even following that, even just with the online, was that's mine. That's an easy one, GTA 5. So.
Jason, what were you gonna say?
I mean, again, going back to one or two of these ago, never into the whole Metal Gear series and all the GTAs just thrown together. For the hype, though, and for what I've seen, I'm probably going to have to go with GTA 5.
Yeah. All right. Next matchup, we have – this one's going to be a tough one for me because I haven't played either of these. I've played like 2 minutes of one of them. It's Persona 5 Royal and Bayonetta 2.
I feel like I'm the only one that can kind of comment on this.
Yeah,
I haven't played either as well.
I haven't played either. I'm kind of
I'll just be the person that defaults it then, not from a biased opinion. But the Bayonetta games have a big following and people really like them. But I think it's that same kind of Devil May Cry, very bombastic, crazy combat and just spectacular boss fights with giant creatures and stuff. But I think, and I haven't played Royal, but I have played, I will play Royal specifically soon. But I did play Persona 5, and all the Persona games are really great. They have great stories. The combat's always fun. The soundtrack is always just great and very catchy. I think overall, I think the Persona series is better than the Bayonetta series, and I think Persona 5 Royal just was a slam fucking dunk for re-release. So yeah, we'll just chalk this one up to Persona.
I kind of assumed you were going to say that, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
To be honest,
no question.
All right, moving on. We have The Last of Us 1 and Tony Hawk 3.
The Last of Us 1 versus The Last of Us 2.
I thought that was going to be that, but no. The Last of Us Part 1 versus Tony Hawk 3.
Tony Hawk.
What?
No, I'm kidding.
All right. I was like,
whoa.
Wow.
I was thrown off for a second.
I did not. Wow.
So I think it's pretty easy to say this is a unanimous decision.
It's Last of Us.
Hands down.
I like Tony Hawk 3 though. It was always fun. Like I remember getting the skin to play as like Wolverine and Darth Maul on a floating fucking skateboard. It was fun. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I did love that game, but comparing the two, that's like, no, you can't. Come on.
Well, I know where this next one's going to land. So it's The Witcher 3, which was ranked 14, versus Celeste.
Witcher 3 is garbage. Celeste all the way.
Celeste. Yeah. I knew Jason was Celeste. I'm going Witcher.
Sorry. Yeah, that's it.
Sorry, Jay. You're out on that.
No, come on.
All right. And then the last two, we have two more for round one. We have, I know this one too. We have number 6, Chrono Cross, versus number 27, The Last of Us Part 2. Last of Us 2? All right. And then
if it was Chrono Trigger, that would be tough because then I would vote for Chrono Trigger. But Chrono Cross, I did not like that game at all.
Yeah, no. And that was for PlayStation 1.
Yeah, that's an old one.
Yeah. So this one might actually get interesting. So the first round matchup we have is Journey versus The Witness.
Oh, that's tough.
So, how did these two games get top 10s? I mean, they're good games. I played through both of them all the way. They're good games for what they are. I don't see top 10 or 10 out of 10 for either of these.
It's mine.
Like, they were very specific niche type games.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to go with The Witness, just because that made me think a lot more. The Journey was just kind of run around, and once you got hit a few times and you realized what you needed to do, it was pretty much just, autopilot from then on, with very few exceptions. The Witness constantly made me think. And, it started out with, one part of one puzzle, and then two parts of one puzzle, and then you had 5 different puzzles working with each other, and each one of those puzzles drew on 4 to 5 skills that you picked up during the previous puzzle. So that kept me on my toes the entire game.
I will agree on The Witness. I had to stop playing that game because, again, I was not smart enough to comprehend what the fuck's going on. I found the little creepy-ass village thing on the top of the tower with all the stone men. I was like, oh, this is weird.
Yep.
I'm out. But I will give it to The Witness. I thought it was really creative. I thought it was a really cool game. Some of the puzzles, though, I was like, how are you supposed to think about this? Like, the Tetris one was wild. That was trippy as hell. But I'm going to give it to The Witness.
The only puzzles I did not finish was like the very, very last one, where you get to like platinum the game, because you have it's just randomly generated. So the puzzles are never the same from one playthrough. So you can't go from like muscle memory or like look at a guide or anything for it, if that's your thing. But you only have I think you only have like 3 minutes to complete all of them from start to finish. And if you mess up, if you're going through, if there's 10 of them and you're on 8 and you mess up on 8, you go all the way back to 1.
Fuck that. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Matt, you're going to go.
Yeah, I'll give it to The Witness. It's funny that what Jason was saying, because it was literally exactly what I was going to say. I pulled it up. I have 91% of the trophies on that game. The one
I knew you were
the one trophy that I do not have is that final. It's like it's a hidden trophy. It's like it's called completing the challenge. It's called, and there's it all starts with a record player in the middle of a fucking cave, and it is very difficult. There's no way to rig that game to your advantage. You just have to be fucking on your toes. So I'll never get that platinum, but I didn't like that game. It reminded me of like Myst from PC days, where it's like you're kind of moving around an island, point and click, even though you're moving in full 3 dimensions, but like. Very, very interesting game, and some of the puzzles in that were just really fucking cool. So,
very surreal graphics as well. Very, very beautiful game.
Yeah, it was a good-looking game. I agree. All right, moving on to round number 2. We have number 1, Half-Life Alyx versus number 17, Uncharted 4.
Uncharted.
I'm going Uncharted. Yep. Wow. Sorry, Half-Life Alyx.
This we've already commented on all of what we think, so this will just we won't have to comment as much, because now it's going to be more streamlined. It's going to start funneling really quickly.
All right, so we have next round. We have Soul Calibur, which was ranked 25, versus number 24, Final Fantasy 7.
Final Fantasy 7. Jason is going to be nope, it's going to Soul Calibur.
Yeah, fair. All right,
total upset.
Next round, we have Divinity Sin 2 versus God of War.
God of War.
Yep. All right. Next, we have Metal Gear Solid 5 versus Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
Really? I was going to go with Metal Gear Solid 5.
Uh-oh, Jason.
Oh, God. I should pass on this because...
someone's got to break it.
I'm going to go Breath of the Wild just for the nostalgia.
Okay.
Fair. All right. Next off, we got Rainbow Six Siege versus Mario Odyssey. I'm still going to lead on Siege on this.
I'm going to go with Siege.
And I would actually go with Siege too. I think Siege all around it's the better experience overall, I guess. Would just be Easy way to put it. So yeah, Siege.
All right. We have, let's see, GTA 5 going against Persona Royal.
Persona.
Really?
Yeah, I really like Persona. Persona games are fun. Had a lot of fun with GTA 5, but Persona is like a masterclass every time in how you make a JRPG.
All right, I will. I'll give you that. I'll go Persona on that only because I respect what they did and I respect how much people get invested in it and I respect how detailed and the storyline. But I'll give it to Persona on that. Jay, what were you gonna say?
I was actually going to go with GTA 5 just from what I've seen, but Persona it is.
Persona it is. All right, it's getting. This will be an interesting one. We have number 3, The Last of Us, versus number 14, The Witcher 3.
You know where I stand.
I know. Cameron.
I'm going with
Cameron. You can, if you want to settle it, you can. I don't care. I want to put you in the hot seat, actually. What? You don't have to listen. If you vote out The Witcher, it's not like I care. They're both amazing games.
That's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the fact of like, was The Last of Us 2 better than The Last of Us 1? Absolutely not. So I'm going with The Last of Us.
That's fine. And you know what I can say? As much as I really like The Witcher, I think there are emotional points to that story, and you get invested in the characters and the gameplay. But I think between those two, I think I would have even gone with The Last of Us myself, and that shouldn't be viewed as like a weird thing. Like, despite how much I love The Witcher, I think The Last of Us really is truly a generation-defining game and all around. So that's fine. I can go with that.
And our last battle in round 2, we have The Last of Us 2 versus The Witness.
Probably. This is going to be weird because it's going to come down to The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2 or something.
I'm going Last of Us 2 because
I'm going Last of Us 2 as well. The Witness is great, but it couldn't.
Yeah, it's not the whole candle.
Even for the issues Last of Us 2 had, still far superior.
Yep.
All right, it's getting interesting. Here we go. We have number 17, Uncharted 4. Versus number 24, Final Fantasy 7.
7.
I'm going Uncharted.
Unfortunately, Final Fantasy.
What?
Bed. No. I said no. Final Fantasy 7 going to bed. I'm going Uncharted. No way. The remake.
I got so scared. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Sorry, Jay. No. It made its way. All right. Next off, we got number 20, God of War 4 versus, what do I have here? Number 21, Breath of the Wild.
God of War.
That was easy.
I got a suspicion of where the final game is going to be.
Yeah, I have my assumptions too, and it'll be interesting. All right, next we have number 2, Rainbow Six Siege versus number 10. Where am I at here? I only wrote down the numbers. I didn't write down the actual names. Persona 5 Royal.
Persona 5.
Siege.
Ooh, Cameron.
I was gonna go with Siege.
Totally fine.
Wasn't expecting that. I'll be honest. I was not expecting Rainbow Six Siege to get this far, but it is what it is. So, all right. Looks like our last matchup is none other than The Last of Us versus The Last of Us 2.
And I think that's an easy one for all of us. It'd probably be the first one.
The Last of Us 1. All right, so before we get to the final 4 games, let's take a quick break for a word from our sponsor.
Why Am I a Nerd podcast network has been brought to you by our sponsor, Me Moms. The best breakfast and lunch down the Jersey Shore with 3 great locations in Wall Township, Middletown, and Brick, New Jersey. Me Moms specializes in unique and fun takes on your traditional lunch and breakfast items. Open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., you can find more information at www.memoms.com.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
All right, we're back. Matt, I'll save your chime. Don't worry. The final 4 games we have is Uncharted 4 versus God of War. That rhymed. Where are we going here? God of War 4. God of War 4. I keep saying God of War 4. God
I mean,
of War.
technically speaking, it would
could
be
4,
God
yeah.
of War 4, yes, but okay.
I'm going with Uncharted just because that's like, I love that whole genre. I love the whole Tomb Raider thing. I love the Indiana Jones thing. So I'm going to go with Uncharted.
I would have gone with Uncharted, to be honest with you, but there's something about the kind of the pacing towards the end of that game that kind of got a little wonky for me. That was kind of like, where for me, God of War, I just kind of felt like it continued to, it never spiked to where you're like all amped up and then like dropped you down real hard. I kind of felt like it kind of like maintained its beats throughout the game pretty well. I mean, I did think that the game kind of ended very uniquely. I'm not going to spoil it by any means, but the ending of that was definitely not what I expected it to be. But I'm still going to give it to God of War 4. So, Matt, you're up. Who's doing
God of War. God of War.
All right. And as for our final battle, which I didn't expect this one to be, is The Last of Us versus Rainbow Six Siege.
Last of Us.
Last of Us.
All right. And this is exactly what I was kind of assuming it was going to be. So, the 2 best games that we've gotten down to that are the 10 or the 10 is none other than God of War and The Last of Us Part 1. And let's see. Looking at my thing, both of these games are coming from 10s from IGN. So, IGN, you have won our crown of the more credible source when it comes to video game reviews. So, here we go. God of War, The Last of Us 1. What is the best game that ever got a masterpiece rating?
The Last of Us.
The Last of Us from Jason.
Cam?
You look like you're more, no, we're gonna go with you. You look like you're more stressed out about this than I am. So it looks like you're gonna be the deciding factor. I can tell. Isn't
it weird how you have these 2 games that we're boiling it down to, and they're both about like these adventures between these, the father-daughter and the father-son relationship. One is actually like they're the real parent, and that like. And these journeys, just like your traditional fucking hero's journey, like all that shit. I don't know, man. This is really fucking tough.
And again, all these games are great. Definitely play them all. They're all most of them are worth your time. Maybe Chrono Cross can probably take the back seat on this one. But
Pac-Man.
Yeah.
I think it's over. I think it's The Last of Us. Honestly, I think it would be The Last of Us.
That was mine. There's something about The Last of Us that at the end of that game is just like nothing you've kind of ever experienced. And as much as God of War went really close to doing it, there was just something about, I guess, the nature of like that The Last of Us is like essentially more real life scenario than God of War, and I kind of felt like it could relate to people more than God of War. No one's walking out with a fucking double throwing axe and double chain blades. Mm-hmm. But
so the very last scene of The Last of Us, that's one of my favorite scenes in video game history. It's when we all know they're walking, they're looking down, and Ellie starts talking to Joel about her friend Riley, and like so that was like even though she didn't really believe Joel as far as what happened with the Fireflies, she still like kind of realized that, okay, he's her father and she needs to start telling him stuff. And that was like kind of her opening up to him. That like was one of the most humanizing things in that game for me,
Mm-hmm.
When the line, her name was Riley and she was the first to die.
They nailed that game. I mean, there's
more humanizing than I thought that game would be.
Yeah. I mean, again, if anyone hasn't taken the time to play that game, like you really need to play that game. I mean, you could probably even argue that I would probably tell somebody now if someone was like, hey, I'm trying to get into video games, I want to play Last of Us, I would probably tell them, do yourself a favor, don't play the second one. Like, there's just something about the way that first game ended that I don't think it carries over to the second one very well. And I kind of feel like if I was a new gamer and someone that kind of wanted to invest, I probably wouldn't have wanted to play the second one, or I would have hoped someone would have told me not to, because I just don't feel like the second one hit the marks as well as the first one did. And I kind of felt like it kind of took some of the stuff that you reminisced on from the first one and kind of just like deflated it. And
well, Matt touched upon it a few minutes ago too. It was, or 15 minutes ago. It was that was like one of the generational defining games, for the PS3. When you think of games that got people that like changed your outlook on gaming. Okay, so Super Mario 3, we talked about that last week. That was a great game. You had the original Final Fantasy VII. That was groundbreaking for its time. You had a couple in the 2000s, and then The Last of Us Part 1 was the groundbreaking game for, as far as I'm concerned, the first half of the 2010s.
I agree.
I mean, that changed everyone's perceptions on what a game could be as far as visual, combat, and just an overall satisfaction of playing through and getting to the end, as well as the human aspect of it.
Yeah, it's just a fantastic game.
It hit all the marks dead on.
We've said it before. I think Matt and I talked about this the first episode. It'll be very, very interesting to see what Naughty Dog does going forward, because after having two games that kind of, hit the way that those two games have hit, it'll be. I mean, I'm putting kind of Crash Bandicoot to the side, not in any sort of disrespectful way, but I'm looking at like what their next big thing is going to be, and it'll be interesting to see, will they be able to carry over the impact that they had with the Uncharted series, the Last of Us series, over. And you could say that they did the same with the Uncharted series, but there's just something different about The Last of Us that they just nailed the emotional standpoint in that game really, really well. And I think because you kind of look at like the Uncharted, and like you said, Jason, like it's like Indiana Jones. It's like he's going to survive. He's going to get out of every crazy ass scenario that there possibly is, without rhyme or reason. Where The Last of Us, it's kind of like you didn't know what was going to happen, especially going into the second one. No spoilers. You kind of had an assumption what was going to happen, and then I think it just happened. It happened, and it is what it is. And I do think that I would tell somebody not to play the second one. That's my opinion, though.
And if you're talking about that scene in the lodge, it happened quick. There was
I think I guessed that.
Build up to it. It was just, okay, this is it. And boom, done.
Yep.
Like, whoa.
Yeah, I was in denial about it for a second. I actually said to Matt.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, this isn't real. And then when they showed they showed the thing, I was like, wow, this is real. Okay, here we go. Let's do this. So, but Matt, you got anything left to chime in before we head on out?
No, I mean, that pretty much covers it. The one I always, when I think about The Last of Us, I remember working, I don't know, I feel like this kind of weirdly changes the subject, almost like a negative note. I remember, I was still working at GameStop at the time. This is how many years ago now? Like 7+ years ago.
6.
And we always had, it's crazy. And we had just this one customer who would always come in and was so up his own ass about Xbox being like the best console, that he would always come in and just be like, when The Last of Us had come out and it was getting all the praise and people were really just commenting on it, not just diving in head first saying it's good without trying it, like generally people are, like Jason was saying, people are commenting on it, it's really groundbreaking in every way. And he just would always say, like, it's fucking childish. This is like a grown-ass man saying like, oh, fuck you guys and your little gay stations, Xbox is the best thing ever, this Last of Us game is fucking crap, why do I want to go around and play daddy and I have to keep an eye on my daughter? Like, just didn't want to even hear about how the game was, or even give it a chance. Like, I'm not expecting somebody to go buy a PlayStation just to play that game, but just being so anti PlayStation and anything that comes out for a PlayStation, just shitting on it. That's just whenever I think of The Last, my mind is always drawn to that. Like, I mean, of course we're all generally PlayStation people, we're Sony people, but that doesn't mean that I didn't like games on Xbox. Like I talk about Halo. I do love the Halo series, but I wouldn't just immediately shit on some new game on an Xbox because it's on an Xbox. And then that's what my mind always goes to with The Last of Us. Like this person didn't even give it a chance and would actively like tell people coming into the store if he was hanging out and they were picking up a copy of The Last of Us, then he'd be like, don't buy that game. Don't waste your money. It's fucking garbage. Just
kicked his ass.
Not even giving it a chance. Yeah. Not even giving it a chance. So I always think about that and just being like, I mean, you can talk as much shit as you want. You know, the articles, the ratings, and the money that game generated speaks for itself. You know,
100%.
and just the fact that, you know, no offense, there's no, you know, they've done some Halo TV shows or like, you know, like mini series that never really worked out. I mean, HBO is making a fucking Last of Us show. I mean, HBO isn't going to adapt a video game show if it wasn't something really worth their time. So it's just when you say The Last of Us, a lot of people know what it is. So, and then they will never forget it. So yes, generation defining masterpiece, platinum game, just everything about it is amazing. So
you guys have it. There you go. Once again, this is Why Am I Nerd, represents Alphabetical Games. You can follow us on Instagram at Why Am I Nerd Official, Facebook.com/Why Am I Nerd, and listen to new episodes every Monday on YouTube or your favorite podcast service. So there you have it, guys. The Last of Us is the best 10 out of 10 game, according to us at Why Am I Nerd. I will be playing Prey this week. Jason continuing his journey on Uncharted. And Matt is diving into... Again. And Matt, you're diving into none other than... Cuphead. Which...
Yeah, we'll see how that works out.
Can't wait. Once again, I'm Cameron James. That's Jason. That's just Matt. Until next time, we're out.
Peace.